have you ever been on a date where the date is not going well? And I mean, this is what I would tend to do when I go on a date or when I used to go on a date that was not going well. I would find myself just talking to fill up space.
Oh, yes.
I mean, and then, you know,
and
to
then
be
like
fair,
sipping on your drink, and then you realize like, oh, I'm just so uncomfortable. Like I maybe should slow down a little bit, right? Like that's.
oh, well, no, yes, I will drink to excess.
Yes.
And I will just start talking a mile a minute just to sort of like get over it. You know, it like there's some level of nervousness associated with this, but it's also like I got to fill the space. And now, of course, a podcast is not a date. And if someone was interviewing JD Vance, they might be intimidated by it. But if they weren't intimidated, maybe they were nervous because they were the ones who sort of put themselves on the line to recommend JD Vance. And maybe their dad who took your advice found out that, you know, did it and now is pissed. And so maybe, you know, I don't know if there's an opportunity for you to grab a drink or something like that to make it easier or whatever. You maybe just grab what's closest to you. And anyway, here is this is a montage. To be fair, it's possible that JD Vance got to say a word during this exchange. I'm not going to watch the whole thing, but this is from Twitter. Ron Filipowski stitched together a video of Donald Trump Jr. I guess interviewing JD Vance. It is fascinating. It's almost as if Trump is running from what he's done.
Like there's some of them are like, we don't even want white women. Like it doesn't, like, we need to check like 3 or 4 boxes so you can end up in like, if you're like, you know, a trans communist, this, that, and the other, like you too.
Okay, pause it for 1
CEO
second. We should say this is not sped up. I start from the beginning. I just want to make this clear to everybody. We did not speed this up. We have not put it through the high-tech Majority Report audio filter. Go ahead.
Like there's some of them are like, we don't even want white women. Like it doesn't, like, we need to check like 3 or 4 boxes so you can end up in like, if you're like, you know, a trans communist, this, that, and the other, like you too can be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company with no experience whatsoever. He's actually spent real time with them. Like, and he's sort of, I would say he's the blue collar billionaire. And 15 years ago when I said it, people used to shit all over me. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you don't understand. And now they understand. What the borders are, wrote the article. It wasn't even like it was the same publication. It was the same journalist. I'm like, this you? Like, to literally save democracy, because it's literally at risk, JD. That's why I keep notion that, you know, democracy is all things, but if the elite, meaning, you know, Barack Obama, the Clintons, a couple billionaire donors be like, okay, this isn't working. We're going to take everything we gave you. We didn't give you any other options. We threw, you know, RFK off the ticket. We basically tried to push anyone else from happening. So we gave you your only choice. You actually then chose that person, and now America is not there. Now they're pretending, no, she's a moderate. They did the same thing with Joe Biden. He's going to be so moderate. He's so moderate. Look, he's moderate. The policies were not. I hate to say it, but like literally, no, like, but it's like me, a couple other people that we're friends with that are like, hey guys, here are the facts, but you're not going to get that. Honestly, you may not get that on. I don't know.
Like, seems like it should be illegal.
I'm reasonably fast. If you see me on Twitter, like I'll get out a mean tweet in seconds. I don't think I'm going through a checkout process 7,000 times or whatever the statistic, and it's over and over again. I mean, even if they're, you know, journeyman, very average at best at what they're doing, of course, they thought of themselves as the elites, and yet none of these guys are exactly. They all copy everyone. The Marines thing, I'll sit it behind a desk for a year or two, you know, after I do all the other things because I want to get into politics. You did it first.
Okay, so that's not awkward first date energy. Now that we're on the other side of that. That is, you know, I went to college with some guys that ended up going and working on Wall Street, and I don't really care about them anymore, but when I was like 22 or 23, I'd still be going to parties, and sometimes it would be late night, and you'd walk into a room, and there'd be guys going, all we have to do is invest like this. All we have to do is invest in this. Don't you want to start a business together? Yeah, we could do this. Like we could go together. Let's watch New York Giants highlights. Let's watch Giants highlights, right? Like when
it's only 4 a.m. It's only 4 a.m. It's only 4 a.m.
Yeah, another beer. Hey, let's go to the bathroom. That's what that was.
My favorite part of that is how Vance tries to sort of like get a word in edgewise, and it just gets completely steamrolled. And also, the amazing thing is that they are so upset at the ability of the Democratic Party to be responsive to, I don't know what the last set of polls was, like 65, 75% of people were saying they didn't want Biden as the nominee. They're so upset about it. They're going to cry about this until, like, if Trump loses the election, guaranteed, in his speech calling for, people to rise up and how he's going to be prosecuted, he's going to talk about how this election was rigged because Kamala Harris should not have been the nominee. It was unfair to him. Spent all that money on the ads against Joe Biden. And I do think that, I know there's a lot of people who think that Donald Trump Jr. is using, illicit drugs. I suspect that he's using legal drugs that probably aren't necessarily warranted, and maybe doing a lot of them. Although maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to be open to that. I'm not going to claim to have any special insight to this, but he is clearly got to be nervous because he's the one who supposedly at least was taking credit for the JD Vance pick, sort of second order leaking to reporters. And that's just enough for Donald Trump, his dad, to blame him. I hope he gets written out of the will when his dad goes to jail. That's what I'm saying.
He was already in the doghouse, right? Because Barron is so much taller. So, and he has a beard like JD. So.
Yeah, I knew we shouldn't have done the beard. And then he also now is like, he's talking like this the whole time. He's sitting like one of those people that they do, hidden videos of on the subway, where it's like, I mean, what's going down? I'm filtering everything into my junk. That's what I'm doing with all my hands. Look at I'm filtering everything into my junk.
That's a body language. You want to draw the eye to the place where the audience will, I don't know.
It's such a deep separation of the legs over the chair.
It's called manspreading.
Hey, so we all remember the Supreme Court's ruling on Trump's presidential immunity case. Well, get this. The leader of the Heritage Foundation think tank has said the second American Revolution will be bloodless if the left allows it to be. All sparked by the Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity. Well, Ground News found nearly 50 sources reporting on it with zero coverage coming from the right. Why? Well, going through these articles, you can see most of them tie this project to Trump. Like this report from the DCCC writing Trump's so-called Project 2025 manifesto advocates for a nationwide abortion ban, quote, silencing his political enemies and more. With presidential elections not too far away, this is an extremely important story, and you wouldn't know about it unless you intentionally diversify where you get your news from, which is why Ground News created their blind spot feed. It's to surface major stories with little reporting coming from either the right or the left. Our longtime sponsor really simplifies empowering yourself with knowledge so we're fully aware where our information is coming from and how that influences our reporting or lack thereof. An important mission under our current political climate. Best of all, they're offering my viewers 40% off the same unlimited access Vantage plan that gets me access to all their features. So head to ground.news/majority or scan my QR code to help support an independent news platform working towards a more transparent media landscape.